This is a question regarding compassion. You've always mentioned that the example that you always give, that when we talk about compassion, it's always the love of a mother to a child, for example. So how can we actually think about compassion that is not out of attachment? For example, you can, in all spiritual tradition and in the world, we always say that motherly love is the
You can't. At our level, you cannot have compassion without attachment. But by starting at that, you can reach compassion without attachment. Because why? We need a starting point. And we can't start at a level of a bodhisattva or a Buddha who has no attachment, because we obviously do. So at this level, to have compassion without attachment is impossible. You have compassion with attachment, but it's better than attachment without compassion. So with compassion, with some attachment, and doing meditations, understanding and study and rehabituating ourselves, we can shift our compassion with attachment instead of 100% to 98, to 80, to 70, to 60, it becomes less and less and less and less. So in the Tantras, it doesn't talk about suppressing your passions. It talks about transforming the passions with a different motivation through time. That's why Tantra is very effective for modern people today, where actually suppressing or stopping something is almost near impossible due to a lot of distractions and what's going on in the world. So instead of suppressing, you use it. It becomes something that burns itself out. So like that, right now at our level, to have compassion without attachment, impossible. So we have compassion with attachment, and we gradually change it. Gradually. We work with it. And we be easy with ourselves. You understand? So at this level, impossible.
Okay. And further to that is, for example, when we talk about compassion, right? It has been, for example, for people like me, we're not realize or study a lot about compassion. What we can see daily is just like motherly love and all this. And most of the time when people they are kind to others, it's because some is because of responsibility, for example, families and children and all this. And some is because of you have expectation that they will help you back. So when we talk about compassion, I mean not at the high level, the actual one, how do we actually develop compassion, and what it actually is on a very basic level that we can practice?
That we can see on a basic level?
Yeah, like how is it?
Rudy helping his brother is a basic level of compassion. Very basic.
Okay. Because like sometimes I get confused, because sometimes when you talk about compassion, it's like motherly love, that kind of thing. It's when I think about it, most of the time it's because of the attachment of the mother to the child. That one way that we can't actually develop compassion in that way, because it's attachment. And what actually made me think was what actually compassion is, that we can develop from this level so that we can achieve that level.
Okay. At our level, it is not possible to develop unaffected, unattached compassion. That is confirmed. A mother takes care of its child due to its attachment to it, maybe because the child, in the case of royalty, if the child is a male, it's some kind of heir, she gets some kind of prestige, like in ancient China, so her position in the court is secure. In an ordinary situation, maybe the mother had a child because she doesn't want to be lonely, or maybe she had a child because she's supposed to, society said so, and she takes care of it because no one else will take care of her. There are many, many reasons. What you're saying is her actual reason for taking care of the child, her actual reason taking care of a child is not really purely 100% compassion or pure. Okay. Still, there are mothers who don't take care of their child. There are many mothers who don't care about the child. There are many mothers who don't actually watch their child or care what's going on. They're more interested in themselves. So compared to this person, they're still more better. Okay, that's one. Second thing is, when we think about what our mother has done for us, when we think about it, whether the mother gave us food, shelter, education, and care because we are an heir, or because we are her responsibility, or because she's forced to, it doesn't matter. The fact is that she gave us food. She gave us care. She gave us shelter. She gave us education. She gave that to us. Whatever her reasons for doing that, she still gave that to us. Because she gave that to us, we have a human body that has the potential to be a Buddha, to practice to become a fully enlightened Buddha. This potential came from this person. Although this person's compassion is not pure, still we get some benefit from it. So when we do our practices and we become more and more attained, right? Thinking about how this came about, that act that we can become attained, that level that we have reached, came from many different sources, came from many different people. Although their compassion is not pure, it is still very helpful to us. So because it's helpful to us and we were able to reach, maybe we're a business person, maybe we had a good life, maybe we became a star, maybe we became a Buddha. Because of their help, we were able to attain that. From their side, whatever their motivation was, doesn't matter. From our side, we need to remember. From our side, when we remember their kindness, when we remember, it should stir emotions and it should stir the mind that wishes to repay the kindness back. So whether the mother is actually compassionately taking care of us or self-motivated to take care of us, she still took care of us. Therefore, she is better than many people in the world who not even out of responsibility would take care of us. Our school teacher didn't really take care of us. Our friends really didn't take care of us. And all these other people we met didn't really take care of us. So they're even worse than her. So it's very difficult to think about repaying people's kindness when we think about ordinary people that we meet off the street. But for our mother, it's easier to think about her compassion. Why? Whatever her motivation, she still helped us. Because of her help, we're able to reach whatever position we have reached. When we reflect on that kindness, the purpose is not to investigate further regarding her motivation. The purpose is to develop unaffected compassion towards this person and retain their kindness. So the purpose of doing the meditation upon the mother's kindness, to develop compassion, is not to examine the giver. It is to examine the person who has received. That is us. So in our meditations, when we meditate on how the mother kept us 9 months in her stomach, how she experienced discomfort, how she changed her lifestyle, how she lost her shape in her body and stressed her body out, and she went through a lot of hardships, and some others even die in childbirth, right? They have an option, they can kill us, they can have abortion, but they still had us, which is better than some people who didn't even have us. There are mothers, I'm sorry to say, who don't change their lifestyle. They take alcohol, they take drugs, they take all kinds of hot and very cold foods that affect the child, that the child can come out retarded or damaged, okay? So she's still better than the other person because she took some responsibility. That taking responsibility reflects some type of human care. Human care, okay? So when we do the meditation on the kindness of our mother, the purpose of the meditation is to develop a type of attitude that wishes to repay the kindness of others. So when we develop that attitude, we don't need to think deeper what their motivation was. Why? On this planet, among normal beings, it's very hard to find someone who has that kind of level of compassion. So therefore, when we think about that, when we meditate on the kindness of others, this overwhelming feeling of taking care of our mother comes. To respect our mother, not to talk back, not to hurt her, not to fight with her, and not to damage her. And that in her old age, we serve her. We make sure she's all right. We give her whatever she needs. And if she doesn't need us, we don't create a burden for her. Having great compassion, developing great compassion must start somewhere. Who is the best person in our lives? According to the Buddhist scriptures, in general, it's our mother. Even more kinder than our father is our mother. So therefore, when we can develop this kind of compassion for our mother, and this type of feeling of repaying the kindness of the mother, what happens is this. The object is our mother. But through the object of our mother, we have developed the feeling of repaying kindness back. See, prior to this, most people don't think about repaying the kindness of anybody back. You say, hey, you pay the kindness of your teacher back, your friend back, your lover, your husband wants it. No, they can take care of themselves. I don't need to take care of them. Most of us think, I don't have to repay anybody's kindness back. And so we go through a life that's very selfish. Give me, I use, take, Whatever I want, whatever I need, you give to me, you owe it to me. And we don't even think about the other person. We don't think. So how to cut through this? For ordinary people like us, to cut through it, we must start at a starting point. That starting point is someone in our lives, whatever their motivation, has shown us help and care. So when we focus on the mother, we develop this care. We develop this type of thinking, someone took care of me. And then this feeling of softness comes. I will take care of her. I will help her. Then from this meditation, when we feel an owing or repaying our mother back, it will definitely develop. When that feeling comes, we expand it. We don't stick it with just our mother. Then, in the Buddhist belief, we believe that we've had hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. Every single lifetime, we've had a mother. Every single lifetime, a mother has been very kind to us, like in this lifetime. And those mothers, we may not recognize at this time, but they have been our mothers. What's the difference between the kindness of a mother from a previous life to the kindness of a mother in this life? So the next step of meditation for the meditator will think like that. What's the difference between someone who was very kind to you in a previous life and a person who's kind to you in this life? Those people contributed to who you are now. So therefore, who was my mother? Who was not my mother? It is definite that at one time or another, everybody was my mother. So therefore, when we think that everybody was my mother, we start to develop this kind of feeling that we owe kindness back to many people, many beings. And so this kind of all-encompassing feeling of repaying kindness to others doesn't develop a one or two, it develops for everyone. And then when we familiarize our feeling of repaying kindness to many beings on a broader scale, real compassion starts to arise. Real. But in the beginning, it is affected, not unaffected. It's affected. Why? We're repaying and contemplating on the mother's kindness because she did something for me. If she didn't do something for me, why should I think about her? So still I'm taking, when I get something, I want to think. But at that level, you need to start at that level to develop a higher level. So when you develop the higher levels, that one doesn't matter anymore. You understand? So what happens is later, when we start thinking about many beings, and we think about their kindness, we can think about the people at work who's been very kind. We can think about people that we, in school, some teachers have been very kind to us, some auntie, uncle who gave us advice that helped us through difficulties. And then we don't even have to think about only the kindness we have received. We can think about the kindness that other people have helped other people. For example, we know a lot of selfless people who have gone down to Johor Bahru to help with the flood victims. I think they're very kind. See, then we develop a type of mind that kindness is not dependent only on receiving it ourselves. But the fact that people can show kindness to others, we start opening our minds to them. So we're sitting here in a nice air-conditioned room, in a nice house. We have electricity. We have everything. Everything's really easy. The roads are clear. Everything is normal. But a couple hundred miles down south, people's lives are completely different than ours. But we're not on a train, we're not on a boat, and we're not on an airplane going down there to help them. We're sitting here receiving a Dharma talk, having Coca-Cola. But there are people there who are really helping and working. Those are very compassionate. So, do we like to hear about people drowning? Do we like to hear about their crops being destroyed? Do we like to hear about their houses being run down? Do we like to hear they lost their babies? Do we like to hear they're sleeping outside with the mosquitoes near a fire and they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow? Do we like to hear some of them don't have insurance? Do we like to hear that they have lost their cars, they have lost their savings? Do we like to hear little old ladies standing somewhere on a chair waiting for days for someone to rescue them? We don't like that. When we see that in the newspaper, we don't like that. So when we hear someone has gone down to help them, doesn't it relieve some of our guilt? Aren't those people kind? Because we're not able to do that. So therefore, the kindness expands to not only what people have done for us, it also expands to what other people have done compassionately to other people. Then it will bypass time and space, because then we won't only think about today's people who've been kind to today's situation. We'll think about in the past, and we'll read history about beautiful people who've helped other people selflessly. And so what happens is you start seeing your mind expand. And this wish to repay or to give something back for their kindness will not only extend to people who help you, it will extend to all people, all beings who have helped anyone. And you start feeling you owe them something. So when you get this feeling of owing them something, that they have done this, they have done that, they have done this, because you can't possibly help every single person in this world, even if you were a Buddha. Impossible. Okay? So therefore, there are many people helping other people in the world. You start feeling a feeling of gratitude, gratefulness, and relief. Don't we all feel relieved when we hear something in the world is going wrong, and then we hear someone go and help them and rescue them or donate? I feel very relieved. In fact, sometimes I just go, phew. Why? I'm not able to do it. I'm not able to. Like when all those nasty things was happening in Sri Lanka with the tsunami and all that stuff, I wanted to go there. I couldn't go there. There was a lot of red tape. I wanted to go there to help. There was a lot of red tape. I couldn't get over there. So therefore, when I heard people were going there to help, I was relieved. So I thought those people are very kind. What did I do? I stayed at home. I lighted bar lamps. I lighted candles to Tara, to Setra, that these people get more help. I lighted more. I did pujas. I did incense offerings. That these people will receive help. And that the people helping them will not have problems. And the people helping them will get supplies and they won't get sick. So I made offerings and pujas for them. Just like when we had the flood victims, then I asked a few of my friends, because we don't have a place here, to go over to Tati's house to make candle offerings. Whatever we're doing at that time, no matter how busy it is, we have to think about someone else for a change. We have to. So when we went over to make candle offerings at Tati's house for those people, the flood victims, it isn't to relieve our guilt. We couldn't do anything. So we should be very happy to do puja there. We should be very happy to offer candles there. We should be not even talk about it and look at it in a very beautiful way. Why? I'm sure we had many other things to do with our lives. But we took that time away because no matter how busy we are or how tired or unhappy or how we haven't seen our friend in 50 years or we just won $3 billion and we're going to go buy this or do that, or we just got a yacht. No matter how busy we are, maybe we're supposed to be the Queen of England, but somebody else was in a much worse situation than us that have no control, and we have control. So therefore, when we consciously go out and make offerings, and we do prayers, and we do that to collect the merit to expedite the rescue there, that is reflecting on kindness. Why? We're helping those people who went there to do something. We're helping them. Then when we heard about the weather conditions coming, people here in Kajara came here and do a Setra Puja. We saw the newspapers. We heard the meteorologists, their threats. We came here, we did our puja, nothing happened. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. I don't know if that's Setra, but I believe it is. But people came here because they cared. They didn't want all this disaster to come around this area for whatever reasons. So my point is, thinking about the mother's kindness is a starting point. It's a starting point. And it's not a practice to reflect on whether her kindness was real or not. It is a practice to make us realize that we are interdependent on everyone. Because we are interdependent on everyone, we need to repay their kindness. And so through this meditational path, we increase the kindness. If you want to read about this very well, you can read this book called, by Karma Publications, Meaningful to Behold. It is a translation of how to develop kindness and compassion based on the meditation, written by the great master Shantideva. All right, so it is called Meaningful to Behold by Karma Publications. It is this book moved me. It affected me very much. The original is in Tibetan. Of course, originally it was in Sanskrit. So in any case, so when we start thinking about other people who help other people, and our compassion grows to that level, you'll see that if I find, I see that Ben, I don't even know Ben very well, but I see Ben was helping Wai Ming, and I heard about it, and I'm very moved. I would want to encourage him. Maybe I'll go and buy flowers and give it to him. Maybe I'll buy some chocolates and give it to him. Maybe I'll give him a gift. He say, well, I didn't do anything for you. Say, you did do something for me. You did do something, because I couldn't do something for him, but you did it. And I thank you and I encourage you. So you start seeing yourself give gifts to people. You see yourself give things to people. You start seeing yourself give emotional support. You give prayers. You do pujas. You give money. You give yourself. You give your advice. You start giving so much to other people. Why? Because you live in a state of repaying other people's kindness. But it's not a repaying their kindness because you owe them. It is reflecting that we are all interdependent. And so since we're interdependent, wouldn't it be better to think about other people's kindness and return their kindness and to develop this kind of appreciation better than the opposite, where we live a whole life of thinking, my mother should do that to me. They owe that to me. I didn't ask to be born. It's their responsibility. So when we start thinking like that about our mother, then it's very easy to think about that from our friends, from our teachers. Well, my teacher's being paid by the state, they should educate me. And then we start going to the stores and people are nice to me. We don't appreciate. We go to the waiters, we go to the restaurants, we're very bitchy and mean to them. Because why? They're being paid for their job. Why should I be nice to them? So then we go through life thinking that everybody should be doing this or should be doing that. I don't need to reflect on anybody's kindness. We start to live a life of independence, thinking we're not interdependent. And then this type of person develops what type of mind? Very hard, very cold, very selfish, very brash. Their manners become rude. Their speech becomes very hurting. Their actions become very brash. Why? They don't have any type of appreciation for their interdependence and their existence that is interdependent on other people's lives. So this meditation is very, very effective. Why? It turns you into a person that appreciates, that does something for others, and that makes you feel like you take personal responsibility for others. Instead of sitting there and saying, they owe it to me. How much have we come across people who feel like that? They owe this to me, they owe that to me, they should give this to me, they should give that to me. How many people we come across that? What's their attitude? Do we feel nice around them? What's their energy? Even if you take an aura picture of them, what color is their aura? It's not positive, it's not yellow, that's for sure. So definitely. So therefore, this meditation of our mother is to develop an awareness that we are totally interdependent and dependent on others for our very survival and life. Totally. And to think along those lines, and not to only think, but that thinking becomes a part of your being where your talk and speech and action always lives a life of appreciation, encouraging others, love, and incredible gratitude, and always thinking thank you to people. Then when you have that attitude, you will share what you have. You will give what you have. You will give of your time. You will give of your body. You will give of your speech. You will give of your clothes. You will give of your food. You will give of your money. You will give of your resources. You will give of your friends. And you're always trying to connect friends and friends to help each other in business. You're always trying to give gifts to people to encourage. Even when you hear someone has done something kind to other people, even if they didn't do anything to you, you give them gifts or you send them a message. Or even people you've never met or heard of, you'll be sending them gifts. Why? You realize the interdependence of how we live. So when you live in such a state of mind, even if you're not religious, to be around that type of person is beautiful. It's wonderful. And it's very, very fabulous.